Hello everybody and welcome to another Blender tutorial. This time we will recreate the image that you can see on my desktop, and it's product of another tutorial. You can find it on YouTube on channel Grayscale Gorilla. They are making awesome tutorials, but they are for Cinema 4D, and I will try to recreate the same method but in Blender using Blender tools. As source image, we will use the same image that they are using. It's Pillars of Eternity. It's photo of some nebula from NASA. I already downloaded it. I have it on my desktop, and it's everything that we will need this time. So jump right to the Blender and just import the image to the scene as plane. I have an add-on for it. It's import images as planes. It's right in the Blender. You just have to activate it, and here import images as planes, and just find your image. It's this one, the starting image. Download it, and it will create plane that is exactly the correct aspect ratio for the image. Let's set our camera so it will be directly above this plane. So go to the transform properties and hit backspace on location, rotation and scale, so it's exactly in the original position and rotation. Just move it a little bit above and set the lens to field of view something bigger, something about 60 degrees, and try to fill the view of the camera with the plane. Let's first set the dimensions. For example, we could go with the Full HD, why not? So go to the camera and move it on the Z-axis. You can do it here in transform, for example, so that the whole frame is filled with the plane beneath. Well, now we can jump right to the render settings. We will go to sampling, change to path tracing, and something very low, because we will use just emission materials with nothing to reflect, so, and no actual light from the scene. So 12 samples is more than enough. Life path, we can go right to 0 and no shadow, no reflective caustics. We doesn't need anything like this. Film don't have to be transparent, and I believe this is enough just for test render. So first save it somewhere, for example to desktop, and try render, and you will get the image that you downloaded. It's on the plane and now it's rendered by Blender. So to achieve this effect on our image, we need to subdivide the plane very many times. So actually we need to each pixel of the screen to have its own polygon, and then displace it by the image itself. So let's do it. I will just split the view, so I will see the result on top, and here I will change it to node editor, go to material and select the plane. The add-on import images as planes already make this material, so it uses the texture, uses it as diffuse material, diffuse shader, and it's all it does. We don't want to use the diffuse. We want shader emission, so it doesn't it's not affected by light in any means. So now when I hit render, I actually get the pretty much the same result, but this is actually same as the image I downloaded. It's the same colors, same values, everything. First, to displace it and use the subdivisions that are correlated with the pixelation, we need to change the feature set of the renderer from supported to experimental, because they are new features. They are not that well tested, but in my experience it worked pretty well. No crashing, everything works as expected. And now if we add the modifier subdivision surface, it looks a little bit different, because now we have this adaptive option, and when we check it, there is a dicing scale, and it means how many pixels will be the size of the face, the polygon on the plane. So now when it's set to 1, it means that every pixel that is rendered will have its own polygon. Well, now we want to displace it. Usually we would do it by adding displacement modifier, but now you can see that the subsurf lost its adaptive option, because before the render itself, the subdivision surface doesn't know how many times it will be subdivided. So it doesn't know yet how many polygons it will have. So every other modifier needs to work with these polygons. So it jumps back to the traditional settings of the counting of subdivisions, as you already know. So we can't use this method, and by the way, set it just to simple, so it will remain square. And we will use this displacement in the material settings. It usually affects only how light is reflected from the surface, but if we go to the material settings, here settings, we can set, because we have the experimental features, the displacement not only the bump, which is the affecting of light, but to true, which means it will not affect the light, but actually the polygons beneath. So if we set something to this displacement, it will actually move the vertices. And we can go and just plug this color to the displacement and see the result. Jump to the render the image. It shouldn't take too long, but now it has much more polygons, or many more polygons, and you can see it starts to do something. It displays the plane. We can amplify this effect by converter math and multiply it by something like 6.4, just because I like that number. Render it again. This is something that is better doing with actually rendering than in the viewport, because the subdivisions is dependent on the resolution. So now we see the actual result, and it's pretty much already what we have here. We just can clamp somehow these individual spikes that are just too much. So we can just add converter or color RGB curves and set that the highest, the white values won't be actually that high, but remain the curve somehow. So these spikes that go too much above and go around the frame will be clumped down. Let's see how it will look. Let's hit render. It will take a while again. Okay, I am pretty satisfied with this result, so I will save it, image, save as image on the desktop. It could be color, PNG, we don't need alpha, we don't need anything else to change. Save as image, and now we need some of the detail of the actual mesh that disappeared because we are using just emission and we don't have any light interaction with the actual geometry. So I will just add shader ambient occlusion, which doesn't react to the light either, but it's just pure geometry. So add it to the surface without emission. Now we actually need more samples. So I will crank it up to something very high, like 1024. I believe something like 320 will be enough, but quality over quantity. And hit render again and wait. Well, we have our result. It took significantly longer, but now we see all the details in the image. So I will save it, image, save as image, and this will be ambient occlusion. We don't need alpha again. Save as image. And now we are done with Blender, but we will jump to some 2D editor, image editor. In my case, it will be GIMP. You can go to Photoshop or pretty much anything that can work with layers. And put the image where we have it. Color the image to the editor and put there the ambient occlusion as well as another layer. The ambient occlusion should be above, and change the mode to multiply. Play with the value, something small, so we can still see the details, but it won't change the colors too much. Okay, this could be pretty good. Then just to add something interesting over it, I will make new from visible, so I will not change the layers beneath, and I will use some texture, something random like concrete is good for it. So concrete image, and it really doesn't matter, so just some image. We want it just to add details to our image. Save it somewhere, put it over everything, and again change it to something like soft light, and put the opacity really down. It will just add some variation to these long streaks of single color. Okay, and now just add some vignettation. It should be really easy. Just add new layer with foreground colors, so it will be just black over everything. Pick the ellipse tool, change the position of the ellipse to 0, 0, and size in percent to 100 and 100, so it's just ellipse over everything. it's perfectly fit the image size, and fill it with white color. It's filled, select all and filter blur, Gaussian blur, and something really high, over 500. Okay. And now again use it as multiply and put the opacity down, of course. It just darken the corners, so it make you look to the center. And now just you can play with the colors. So select the layer with the colors that you see and apply some curves, like basic S curve, to just enhance the contrast of the image. This looks pretty nice. You can change individual channels if you want. You can achieve like orange look or cold look. I think this is kind of interesting. You can see in the preview how it will pop up. Okay, and just export this image. Export this, anything you want. Finish PNG, export. We don't need anything, just image. And after a short while, close everything, and we have here our image. So this is everything for this time, for this tutorial. If you have any suggestions for tutorials to the for future, or some tutorials for other software that you would like to see done in Blender, just put it in the comments. And till the next time, bye.